Hi everyone. In this video, I will show you how to use network automation to improve device security by removing Telnet access and configuring SSH as the secured and recommended way to log into your switches. While using Telnet, you can expose a lot of sensitive information you don't want people to see. If you have worked with switches or routers, you have probably seen Telnet as one of the ways to log into them remotely. The problem with this is Telnet sends everything, your username, your password, and your command lines in plain text. But to really show you what happens during this process, I'll start by logging into a switch using Telnet while running a Wireshark capture in the background. Then I will look at the capture and show you the credentials information right there in plain text. Then I will take a step further and show you how to fix this with network automation that will disable telnet access to the switches and it will enable secure shell access instead. The benefit with using SSH is that it encrypts the entire session and keeps your credentials safe. Alright, let's jump right into it. So I'm going to go ahead and ping 192.168.40.100, which is the first switch in a topology. And hit enter. And yes, I can ping the switch, which means that I can telnet into it. Before I telnet into the switch, I'm going to open a Wireshark session between my terminal and the switch. So open a packet capture. I'm going to clear the terminal. I'm going to start the capture and I'm going to telnet into the switch. Username, JLeo, and the password. And I'm in. So I'm going to stop the packet capture now. I'm going to download the file and I get it right here. So I'm going to open it with Wireshark. Okay, and now that I have the packet capture open, I'm going to go to the search bar. I'm going to type in tcp.port == 23. I'm going to click enter. And then I'm going to select one of the lines that has Telnet listed as the protocol. I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to go to follow TCP stream. There you go. As you can see, the password that we set up is displayed as plain text and the username as well. And now that we have seen this, let's go ahead and fix it by disabling Telnet and enabling SSH in the switches. So far in the real world, I have used three different methods. One using Bash programming, two Python programming, and the third method that I recently learned was using playbooks with Ansible. But for this demonstration, I'll use a Bash script. So the Bash script that I wrote, it's right here. It's called find telnet and fix access to SSH. So this is the Bash script. So in my Ubuntu terminal, I'm already in a folder where the script is. So I'm going to type in ls to confirm that it's right there, and it is. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and run it. So I'm going to clear the screen. And I'm going to run it. And it's going to ask for my username and password. Username is JLeo, the password is set up, and now it's asking me for the IP addresses of the switches. So this script is a two-task process with user interaction. In a fully automated script, all I will have to do is just launch it and let the script collect all the IP address information for the switches in the topology and perform all the tasks by itself, and at the end just show me the results and make sure everything worked. But since this is a demonstration, I wanted to go over the logic of what the script is doing as it goes to understand what happens. So this is the first part of the script. What it will do is, after I enter the IP addresses for the switches, it will ping the IP addresses in the list and make sure that the switches are active. After it confirms the switches are active, it's going to try to SSH into them, and if SSH fails, it's going to fall back and try to telnet into the switches. Once it has telnet into the switches, what it's going to do is it's going to collect the information and it's going to show me the results on the screen. And also will ask me a few questions to execute the second part of the script. So I'm going to go ahead and type in the IP addresses of the switches that I want to look. As you can see in this specific example, on the script I can add up to 50 IP addresses. I don't have 50 IP addresses, I only have 4 switches. However, I am also adding an extra switch that is not in the topology, so you can see what happens if a switch doesn't ping or doesn't respond when the script is running. So now that I have the IP addresses in my script, I'm going to hit enter. It's going to go through the process of pinging the switches, trying to SSH into them. And if it doesn't allow SSH, it's going to go to the Telnet route. As you can see on the left hand side, you can see where the script logged into the switch, the first switch, the master switch. And now that it has completed running the script, is providing all the information. So the first information that I got is the switch 3 has SSH enabled in it. And it tells me that Telnet is enabled on switches 100, 101, and 102, which is what I will be expecting. And it's also telling me that this switch with IP address 192.168.40.104 is not reachable, which makes sense because that switch doesn't exist in the topology. And now it's asking me the questions. If I type in number 1, it's going to execute the second part of the script, which is disabling Telnet, enabling SSH, and basically doing all this, creating the RSA key, setting the IP domain, and everything else. Okay, so for the first pass of this script, I'm going to select 2. And what this is going to do is going to create a text file with the IP addresses they have Telnet enabled in them. And it's going to store the file in the location where the bash script is located at, which is right here. So I'm going to type in number 2, hit enter, and it's creating the text file. And as you can see, it's giving me the information of only the switches they have Telnet enabled in them. This will be beneficial in case you have to create a report or something like that. So I'm gonna close this out because I don't need it anymore. I am gonna clear the screen and I'm going to run it again. Username and password, hit enter, and I need to type in the IP addresses and I want the script to look at and let it go through the process again. So for this second time around, what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in number 1 and hit enter and allow the script to execute the second part of the script. So hit enter after entering 1 and it's going to start telling me what it's doing. As you can see on the left hand side, you can see where the script is logging into the switch, creating the RSA key, setting up the IP domain name, and everything else. Then at the end it tells me the summary of what happened. So 3 switches with Telnet were encountered, were logged into it and were corrected, successfully corrected 3 switches, failed switches to be corrected 0, and Telnet 0, since there are no more switches with Telnet enabled in them. And it also gives me at the end the list of switches that were corrected. So if I run this script again, now it's giving me the information of master switch, switch 1, switch 2, and switch 3, the IP address, and it's telling me that there's really nothing to fix. All the switches in the topology are now configured to SSH. Okay, so now that I know everything has been fixed, I'm going to SSH into the switches as I do a packet capture with Wireshark, and then I'm going to look at the results and see the difference between Telnet and SSH. So before I do that, I'm going to go in the link between the WAN and the first switch in the topology, and I'm going to open packet capture. I'm going to go ahead and start the capture, and I'm going to try to Telnet into the switch, which at this point it should time out because Telnet is no longer enabled. So with that, I'm going to SSH into the switch, and I enter the password, and I am in. Okay, now I'm going to stop the capture. I'm going to download it, and I'm going to open it with Wireshark. And now in the filter, I'm going to type in tcp.port equals and 22, since SSH is what I'm looking for, and hit enter. And now I can look at SSH traffic. So I'm gonna select one of the lines. I'm gonna right click on it. I'm gonna do follow TCP stream. And as you can see right now, all the information is encrypted and all I see is gibberish. So we have seen here today is the real security risk of using Telnet and how easily it can be replaced with SSH, especially when you're using network automation. And that is it for this video. That is a demonstration on how you can implement automation for network security in your network. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.